I'm Heather. I'm back for another really quick video. This one particularly quick because I'm filming this at work. I'm doing some extra stuff in work today where I have to be in a different office and have my own room / office all to myself. So I'm going to be very responsible and a very responsible employee and use this valuable luxury and trust to film some stuff on the YouTubes. So I've been listening to The Familiars by Stacey. I'm really super excited about this book because I'm really into like this sort of witchy type stuff. Like I lived in Massachusetts when I was a kid and we went to Salem and Danvers and stuff like that, and obviously I've been a Hocus Pocus fan since before I can remember. So I really gravitate toward this sort of stuff and I was really excited about this book. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't like the absolute best book I've ever read. Also, I'm facing a window, which obviously is the best for light, and also it's a lovely room in here. So I want to get, optimum light. I want to have the windows open. But it's looking onto another part of our building, part of the building where my office is in. So I know that there are people up there that can see me, and they're like, is she talking to herself? So, I'm running a great reputation for myself. I've only been here a couple months. So this book takes place in the 1600s, and it's sort of about a witch trials type of thing. So it follows this one woman who's just been married. She's only 17, she's been married for years. Like, her first marriage was when she was 4 years old. Anyway, she marries this rich man. She was sort of like married away by her mother, who was desperate to get rid of her. And he's really fond of her, but she has failed yet to produce an heir, which is also a problem. Like, she keeps miscarrying, whatever. And she finds this note in her husband's correspondence from the doctor that says, you should definitely not get her pregnant again, because if you do, she will die. Like, she cannot have any more kids. But he obviously hid that from her. And now she's pregnant again, and she's like, awesome, I'm gonna die. So also, like, that's like one of the plots where she's like trying to have this baby or whatever. Another plot that's sort of going on is these witch trials. So a woman in the neighborhood is being held in like a manor house before she faces trial, and her crime is of witchcraft, of like murdering someone's baby. And they sort of have this meeting of witches or whatever, supposedly. So there's like all of these women that are gonna go before the court and then be hung as witches. So the woman, the wife who's trying to have this baby, her name is Fleetwood, which is a stupid name, but it's actually a real name. Like, the author pulled it from like actual chronicles of things that actually happened. So it's not just like her going, oh, what's a stupid name I can think of. No, it was actually someone's name. Anyway, Fleetwood, she meets like a peasant woman in the woods or whatever, and you find out that she's really good with herbs. She can do loads of particularly witchy stuff. So they sort of lead you to believe, oh, is she a witch? Is she not a witch? Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, Fleetwood takes her on as her midwife because she obviously needs help in like the baby making department. She needs someone to look after her and like tell her what things to eat and not to eat and whatever. And this woman, Alice, like leads her to believe, oh, I do know about that, so whatever. So she takes her into her house. She makes her like a friend. She teaches her to read, blah, blah, blah. The midwife then sort of really helps her through loads of things. Like, every time she has like an ailment or whatever, the midwife helps her out and like gets her like herbs and stuff for this. But in no time at all, in like the way of things in the 1600s, any woman who has like any knowledge of literally anything doesn't just act like a bimbo, like she doesn't know anything, or like nothing is her actual responsibility. People start to suspect her of being a witch or whatever. I suspect her of stealing and like dabbling and blah blah blah. So she has to sort of flee for her life or whatever. Like, Fleetwood like tries to go and like warn her about stuff or whatever, and she just like, the midwife gives her this like really cryptic message like, don't trust your husband, blah blah. Like, a million times we're led to believe, oh, the husband is horrible and terrible. Oh no, the husband is really good. Oh no, the husband is really terrible. Same with the mother. You're like, oh, is the mother really bad or is the mother really good? Blah blah. So it takes you back and forth. Anyway, Fleetwood like finds a bunch of stuff in the ledgers, like the accounts for the house, like all of this money and everything, like going to this place where she used to live when she was a kid. She's like, oh, that's really weird. So she goes and she visits it and finds her husband's mistress there, pregnant. She's like, oh my god, and it starts to click. She's like, oh my god, she's like despair because he thinks that I'm gonna die, and he still wanted to give it a go with me before he had like all of the problems of me dying and then having to remarry. Like, he's got another one baking on the side just in case, blah blah. She goes to her mother. She's like, oh, I can't go, blah blah. So she takes her midwife there, and her and her midwife live for the mother for a while. Oh shit, someone's walking down the stairs. Don't really stop me talking myself. Why do I look like I'm working, right? So embarrassing. YouTube is just all embarrassment. Where was I? So she and her midwife are at her mother's house. Her mother's like, you have to go home. And then her husband comes, and both of them are like, you have to go home. She's like, I'm not coming. So then she like gets into her head. She's like, okay, I will go back and I'll take my midwife and I'll like pardon her. I'll like say to them, oh, she's fine. She's not a witch, blah blah. It'll be fine. We'll all live happily together. She'll deliver my baby. Life go on. But it was all a trick or whatever. Like, they're led into this trap. Like, as soon as the coach gets to the house, like, the midwife is taken into custody or whatever, and the wife is sort of trapped in the house. Like, it's the way of wives. Like, she couldn't just open the door and leave. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I won't like tell you like the whole of the ending of everything. Like, basically, she's got to fight to save her friend from certain death. Basically, she's got to battle all of these really horrible men who, like, in the way of men at that time, and like men always just like, you know, fighting to battle her and telling her it's not her place to like butt in and blah blah blah. And also she's got to like deal with the problems that she has with like being pregnant and not having her midwife who knows everything around, and like worrying that she's gonna be dead soon and blah blah. Like, basically, what I didn't like about this one is that it didn't really inspire any particular feeling in me at all. Like, it wasn't gripping, it wasn't a thriller, like it wasn't creepy, like it didn't like keep me hanging on for like to learn more. It wasn't particularly interesting. Like, it pulled from real life stuff, and like this woman Alice, she was a real person who was like went to this trial for being a witch or whatever, and like Fleetwood was a real person and her husband was a real person, and that's kind of interesting. But basically that's sort of it. Like, it wasn't particularly heartwarming, it didn't make me feel really oozy, it didn't make me feel really sad. Like, it was a bit infuriating, all the men, but just like, there are enough infuriating men in my actual life. I don't need it in a novel particularly. It just didn't like inspire me to feel anything particular. Like, the book was okay, but it wasn't anything to sort of write home about. It wasn't like the best book I've ever read or listened to. Like, the audiobook version of it as well, it's got a woman doing a really thick Yorkshire accent. Like, surely like noble women at the time had like the normal noble woman's accent. I don't know, it's just a really intense Yorkshire accent, which is cute, I guess, but a bit distracting. Like, anyway, just the whole thing was like a bit blah, and I think me having been so excited to read it, first of all, just sort of played into that, like kind of let my expectations down particularly. Like, some stuff that I did like is there was gonna be some actual witchy stuff in it, you know? Like, there's like a really creepy kid who keeps telling on everyone, and like the reason they have all of these all these people on trial for being a witch is because this little girl like said that they were witches, you know? And she like does really creepy stuff with like dolls and stuff. And I think in the end it's not actually clear particularly that she is or isn't a witch. Like, I think you're supposed to assume that she's not a witch, but you know, she was pretty creepy. So her like as a character thing, that could have been like developed a bit more. Like, if they focused a lot more on that sort of thing, that would have been really good. Also, the story, like the title of the book is The Familiars, and there's sort of like animals throughout it, you know, and you're supposed to be led to believe that, you know, they're these witches, you know, particular close friends or whatever. But it's not really a huge like pivotal point of the book, you know, like nothing hangs on it in particular. And like, if that was a bigger part of it, if the animals were like, you know, a massive deal in the book and were just like a side thing, that would have been really interesting. So I did like that part, but wish that it had been bigger. Right, okay, that's it for me. If you're really excited to read this book and now are less excited because of this review, I'm very sorry. But I feel like it's good for people to know. Like when I see a review like this, I'm like, oh, you know, I have so many books on my TBR list. I'd like to see something like this, and I just know that it's not going to be like really high up there on the list. Like it helps me to weed out my list. Anyway, if you liked this review, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you read this book and have like a completely different account of it and thought it was amazing, please let me know. Or if you sort of agree that it wasn't the best one, whatever. Or like if you were thinking about reading it, or if you also really like books like this, like witch trial type books or like witch books like this, and you have like a suggestion for me, I'm totally 100% open for those. I love those, especially because sort of the month after next is obviously like Halloween month, isn't it? And I can like read creepy stuff, so I'm getting my creepy list started. But yeah, if you have anything to say about this one or any sort of similar ones or whatever, just definitely let me know down in the comments. I definitely have to go and do actual work now because I am a responsible employee.